I don't know how many years on this earth I got left. I'm gonna get real weird with it.
Hello my darlings, it's Chanel and welcome to a Get Real Weird With It vlog where I read weird, fringe, alternative and less mainstream books. Before I get into the books, I am wearing a perfume. Today's perfume is Orto Parisi in Bocanera. I chose it because it was purple. This one smells like salsa dancing in a darkened alleyway. Unfortunately for me, the capsicum note is a bit too strong, so it's not for me, but very pretty bottle. So let me tell you about the books I read. The first being Penguin's Weird Fiction and Anthology. So this is a collection of short stories, mostly classical. I guess in their time, they were avant-garde, pushing the frontier, a bit bizarre and unusual, probably shocking in their time period. Unfortunately for me, I do read a lot of weird shit, and therefore, in comparison, this was less weird and more mild. I also found a lot of their endings were very meh. I don't know if they were not the full short stories or if that's just how they ended them, but they felt quite abrupt. The stories that were featured in here are The Mask of the Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe, The Monkey's Paw by W.W. Jacobs. That was my favourite of the stories. Oh, Whistle and I'll Come to You, My Lad by M.R. James, A Wicked Voice by Vernon Lee, The Horror of the Heights by Arthur Conan Doyle, Kerfol by Edith Wharton, Where Their Fire Is Not Quenched by May Sinclair, The Call of Cthulhu by H.P. Lovecraft, and Couching at the Door by D.K. Broster. This collection wasn't for me, but read it if you like classics and oddly strange stories. The next book I read was No Credit River by Zoe Whittall. So this is set in Toronto and it's a memoir of a bisexual author cataloguing 6 years of their 30s and 40s. And it's written in poetic prose about the pandemic, old lovers, and lost babies. I'll just read you one of the pages so you get an idea of how it reads. This is called Minnie Looking for My Leslie. What do you miss? Friends ask years later. I miss his wit, his passions, the way he narrates the journey. I miss the crackle, the lucky feeling of when we would reconnect. Now I leave after one date if there's instant banter or a sign of spark, spark, sparks. He sent, "You were the best and no one else can have you." And then 2 months later, a list of all the things he doesn't like about me. Do you have regrets? Asks a therapist. I wish I could go back to that moment, those ripped loose papers with black ink scrawled near illegible, and light them on fire. Then wake up the next day and look for someone who would never write a list like that. The trouble is I stayed and then turned into a person who might write a list like that. The way it was told was non-linear, and the lovers weren't named, they were just referred to as you. And so I had trouble keeping up with who was who, but I have a feeling that's just a me thing. I just like to know which one is this? Which lover are they talking about now? I thought it was okay, but read it if you like trying to befriend cats wherever you go, queer folks, and reminiscing about past relationships. The next book I picked up was Don't Smell the Flowers, They Want to Steal Your Bones, A Cautionary Tale by Duncan P. Bradshaw. I'll show you the way that it's set up is each chapter has an illustration of a flower with the Latin name. So this is a Eustoma grandiflorum, and I think that was really lovely. I love botanicals. On the back of the book, there's a warning that says this contains skeletons, flowers, mutants, speedos, bread, ride-on lawnmowers, hostage situation, and villagers. So this opens up with lucky, or rather unlucky, Chaz, who is on a date when the orchid that he bought as a gift eats his date's face. And it turns out that there's a spate of these human-devouring orchids. And the arrogant, blue budgie smuggler detective Harry, who uses his butthole as a pocket, is put on the case. Now, Harry has a very distinctive character and voice. I personally didn't jive with it, but I could see how some people might find him entertaining, but I found him quite abrasive and annoying. At one point, he refers to a woman's vagina as the Eye of Sauron. This book frequently breaks the fourth wall in this very absurd madcap crime-solving botanical horror book. And I read a lot of books that are nonsensical, but I think because it was constantly breaking the fourth wall and the author was talking to you, it was a very weird, discombobulating experience. It's Fruity Loop bonkers. And whilst this wasn't for me, read it if you like arm bones, trebuchets, and dog milk, and really just reading quite bizarre, unusual, no rhyme or reason, really books. The cover though, and the illustrations were absolutely stunning. The next book I read is The Princess of 72nd Street by Elaine Craft. This is set in the Upper West Side of 70s New York, and you have single artist Ellen, who occasionally turns into Princess Esmeralda of 72nd Street, but the people around her try to quash her happiness and vitality and bring her back down to earth through medication. There is also a ton of vulturistic men who exploit her bouts of radiance to satisfy their own desires. This book was written in a stream of consciousness, which I sometimes found disorienting, but I think it really showed the duality of the manic dreamlike ecstasy and then the harsh downfall return to reality. But pretty much Ellen/Esmeralda just wants to live life on her own terms. Is she mad or is she marvelous? And maybe you do need to be a bit delulu to live in a crazy world. The book definitely looked at how society treats women with mental health issues, and this felt like a bit of an unhinged cool girl book that's for women who are tired of being told you're too much. I thought it was okay, but read it if you like plums, sex, and radiance. The next book I read was The Chthonic Cycle by Una Cruikshank. Humans are small and time is large, and nature has many ways of healing its wounds. The essays are entertaining and tantalizing enough to make you want to delve deeper with your own line of inquiry. After reading them, I think I was left feeling a mixture of sadness and awe. This collection was a bit heavy on the climate change doom and gloom. The opening essay is about the cursed bread incident in France that occurred in 1951 and caused 280 people to go insane, with some dying and some left with permanent injury. The next story was about amber. Then we had whales, who are hunted almost to extinction, and ambergris, which is used in perfumes like Chanel No. 5, is actually whale shit. We then had plastic from lost shipping containers ending up in whales' stomachs. The public universal friend, who was a genderless Quaker priest. The gemstone jet and its use in funerary practices. Mary Shelley and electricity. The Great Exhibition, pearls and mollusks. Coral, and cremation. So read it if you like collecting facts, gemstones, and environmental history. The next book I picked up was Rainbow Filth by Tim Meyer. I do love the cover. It's very, very pretty, and it's got that beautiful rose petal finish. So this book opens up with Adam being interrogated by an officer over the suspected murder of a pervy professor. Insecure Adam has a hot girlfriend, and said girlfriend likes to do drugs with her inappropriate professor. And after going on a class trip, they experience something that is literally out of this world. And she comes back very, very different. And Adam decides to find out what happened. This was incredibly fast-paced, so it flips between the interrogation scene in the present and the past events. I did feel like it ended abruptly. It felt like it finished in the middle of the book, so you don't get any answers. And I was very confused. I thought, wait, where are the rest of the pages, please? Like, what do you mean? What's going on? I need to know. So that did frustrate me, but if that doesn't bother you, then this is a fun time, and I would say read it if you like class trips, cosmic horror rainbows, and getting tongued. The last book I read for that's not it. The last book I read for this reading vlog is Give Unto Us by Justin Lutz, which has another beautiful rose petal finish. I realized a lot of my books in the Weird Ones vlogs are printed by Ghoulish Books. So if you like weird stuff, I'd probably recommend checking them out. So in this book we have Trevor, and Trevor feels that becoming a father has created an ever-growing hole of things that he will never get to do because of his responsibilities as a parent. Him and his wife, I guess, decide maybe it's their cramped apartment that's causing them to feel so claustrophobic. They decide to buy a house, and this house comes with a creepy bottomless sand pit that likes to use the barter system. They soon discover that if they feed it something, it gives them something in return. This book does include an incredibly vomit-inducing sex scene. I did struggle to read that one without barfing, and it also includes Sparta kicking a child. If you've ever wanted to live out that fantasy, you can vicariously through this book. I enjoyed this. I thought it was a zippy, interesting horror story that focuses on marriage, parenthood, suburbia, and perhaps even a little bit of consumerism. Read this. If you like the sandpit scene in the movie Stoker, finding buried treasure, and filling bottomless voids. Those were all of the books that I've read for this reading vlog, so let me recap them for you. Weird Fiction, an Anthology by Penguin wins the award for being less weird than its title. No Credit River by Zoe Whittall wins the award for feeling like you're reading a diary. Hey Sylvie. Don't Smell the Flowers, They Want to Steal Your Bones by Duncan P. Bradshaw wins the award for biggest penis enlargement. The Princess of 72nd Street by Elaine Craft wins the award for being a tall poppy. The Chthonic Cycle by Una Cruikshank wins the award for coolest flaps. So this has some really pretty end papers that I think are stunning, and the cover as well is gorgeous. Rainbow Filth by Tim Meyer wins the award for the most uncomfy three-way tongue kiss. And Give Unto Us by Justin Lutz wins the award for absolutely ruining sand. Yeah, I'm going to struggle next time. It's summer season and I have to go to the beach. So those were all the books I read. I am going out today. I'm heading to some op shops. I'm going to a secondhand bookstore to see if they want to grab some more books of mine. If they don't want to grab them, I will just donate them to the said op shops, but I'm also going browsing. I'm going to see if they've got any books there, and then going to lunch. So I will leave you with the footage from my shenanigans today. At the moment, I am obsessed with the song Too Much by Dove Cameron. I'm just feeling it. It's a bop. It gets my energy up and I'm loving it. And it helps when I'm going to be walking out around town in something that is it's very full on. This is a full on outfit. But I thought, life's short, man. I'm going to be dead one day, rotting in the ground. So why not have some fun while I'm here? Dude, these are meant to be thigh high, stay up tights. These are like 30 bucks, and I was dubious because normally thigh highs I use with garter belts. So you have a thing that goes around your waist and it clips on to hold it up. But these are like, oh yeah, they stay up. Do they? Okay, tights take two. So I've gone with some sheer florals. Hey Sylvie.
End of the week, so
Okay, I am home. I did find some plates And the person at the checkout said, do you want me to wrap them for you? And I was like, no, they'll be right. They were not, in fact, all right. So we did have an accident. So I did get this plate with this beautiful, I think they're lilacs or hydrangeas. And yeah, it's now smashed. So that was my fault. Luckily, that was $1. But I also got some other plates. We've got this pink flower, gold one, small flowers. So these were $2 each. A mini rose bowl, which was $1, and another rose bowl, which was $3. So I'm very happy with those. I'm a bit upset about this one, but what can you do? I guess wrap your plates when you put them in your bag. I then went to the secondhand bookstore and I got this book. I have not heard of it before. It's called Azazel by Isaac Asimov, and it's about a demon. There he is right there crawling into the man's pocket. He's an itty bitty demon. So this was $25, so a bit more pricey. It's in okay condition. It's a bit beat up, but yeah, never heard about it. And I love stories about demons, so grabbed that. I also went to an independent bookstore and I got The Universe in Verse. So this was a 5-star read for me and I wanted a physical copy because I knew it was just going to be gorgeous, because I read this as a ebook and I wanted a physical copy because it's a 5-star book. So I could also see the illustrations because I knew that they would be stunning, and I'm very, very happy to add this gorgeous tome to my collection. So a pretty successful day. I also got a bunch of sweets, including a box of macarons. I'm actually not a macaron fan. I find them too sweet, but my kids absolutely love them. So I got some salted caramel chocolate for myself as my treat today. And that is everything. Until next time, stay weird, Star Child.
We are the weirdos, mister.